What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. It has begun, y'all. Dungeon Defenders Awakened is available for free this weekend on Steam for a free play weekend. In addition to that, if you end up liking the game, it is also on sale, so you can pick it up at a reduced cost. Today, I wanted to go over a few tips and tricks to get things started in your free-to-play experience through Dungeon Defenders Awakened this weekend. Starting off with the very first thing you should do. You've got a 6-hero deck in Dungeon Defenders Awakened. You can only swap heroes while you're in build phase. However, all heroes in your deck do earn experience. The experience earned is additive, so you always want to keep a full deck of 6 heroes. Which 6 heroes you choose is up to you. But for example, if a map rewarded 10,000 experience and you had 1 hero in your deck, that hero would earn 10,000. If that same map you had 3 heroes in your deck, then you would be awarded 30,000 or 10,000 per hero. So experience is not split, it is additive, and always keep your hero deck full. Now, with a 6-hero deck, you're going to have to leave a few heroes out in your overall leveling process. It's really up to you who you leave out. You can go with absolutely anyone as you level through. I would strongly suggest adding in the EV. The EV is a very strong hero for DPS and for building, and has one of the most meta defenses in the game at all levels. That is going to unlock at level 20, and it is the Overclock Beam. The Overclock Beam is like the buff beam from Dungeon Defenders 1, and it will just add to absolutely any defense. So make sure you get an EV in your deck and take your defenses up to the next level by adding in an Overclock Beam. Next up, we've got the Loot Filter. This is a loot-based game. It is all about the loot, and with that in mind, there is a lot of it. So you're going to want to make sure to add in a Loot Filter. The loot filters are available in your options, gameplay, and then just auto loot filters. You can add as many different individual filters as you want, however, they will stack on top of each other. The things that I suggest doing right out of the beginning is starting a runes loot filter. So we'll go ahead and do that from the start. We want to add a loot filter. We're going to name this one runes. And then we're going to edit that one and go down and make sure that we're only selecting runes at the quality we want to pick up. Now, there will be a lot of runes dropping in the game, so what I suggest is leaving all of the marks checked, and then as you gain runes, like once you feel comfortable with all of the gray runes you get, or if you're seeing a lot of green runes drop, then uncheck the previous one, and it will auto-sell the items at the end of every wave without you having to pick it up. That is the main feature of the auto-loot system, as it's kind of the best of both worlds between Dungeon Defenders 1 and Dungeon Defenders 2. You decide what to pick up and keep through your loot filter, or of course you can always pick things up directly off the ground, and then anything left on the ground will auto-sell, and you'll get the gold when the wave ends and you start the next wave. So with that in mind, another important loot filter would be armor. This is one that I feel like is crucial everyone add in. The armor loot filter, you want to just go ahead and select everything, and then to keep it simple as you're playing through, check all the boxes. Once all your heroes are in gray armor, then uncheck that one. Once all your heroes are in green or better armor, uncheck that one, etc., as you climb through the tiers. This is going to make it so you don't spend quite as much time managing your inventory and more time actually playing the game. Now, with this in mind, since the loot filters do stack on top of each other, they can get a little bit confusing. So what do you want to do there? Well, as you're setting your loot filter up, one of the easiest ways to set it up is to do it while you're in a map. If you do it while you're in a map, the items that show up on your tactical map when you hit tab are based off your loot filter. So if you see no items on your map, that means there's something wrong with your loot filter, and your loot filter is not going to pick anything up. If you see everything scattered across the map, then you know there's also something very wrong with your loot filter, and it's going to be looting too much. So you want to make sure to balance your inventory management with your gameplay, and the loot filter is the way to make that happen. I will put a full video on the loot filter linked up above in the cards. Next up, we got stat allocation. As you level up, you're going to be earning some rune points. These rune points you can put in any of the stats that you want. Vitality, of course, is your hero health. Attack is how much your auto attack damage does. Ability is an ability modifier. Fortify is the health of your defenses. Power is the power of your defenses. Range is the range of your defenses. And rate is the rate of your defenses. Early game, these points make a big deal. So, like, for example, if I was going to use a apprentice for walls, then all I would want to really be concerned about with this apprentice is the fortify stat. So looking at our stats, we would dump everything into fortify. Now on a monk, for example, one of the biggest benefits we can get right out of the gates is range. The lower the point value, the more that point is worth. So as you add more points, it does get slightly diminished returns as you scale up. Early game, range is a big deal. So if you're using any damaging type tower, go range. If you're using auras, go range. I'll give you a little example here. Taking all of my range points out. So now we have 0 range, and we look at the size of my ensnare aura. Am I on the correct difficulty? I am not. Let's go to hard mode is where we've been playing. And that is another thing before we move on right out of the gates. You can change the difficulty of your tavern with this red button over here, and that will allow you to see exactly how your defenses are going to react inside of that difficulty's map. So we're on hard mode. This is what my ensnare aura looks like with no range. If I go ahead and pump all that range right back in, then now we see it's considerably different. So you definitely want to get range early. It is more important, the most important stat in the game for any defense that uses range. And that brings us to the difficulties themselves. As you're starting and playing through, you're going to be able to choose between easy, medium, or hard mode. There is a descriptor of these up above, but one thing that is not explained is hardcore and rifted. There is a little tooltip here as you mouse over. Hardcore mode is, the TLDR would be, it is a loot multiplier. So if you enable hardcore, you're going to get better loot. However, there will be no respawning during combat phases, and additionally, all of your mana that's on the ground will disappear in between each wave. As you're first playing through, it's up to you really, hardcore or not hardcore. There's not a difficulty difference, it's only those modifiers. And then we got Rifted mode. Rifted mode is a mode that is another loot multiplier, but it also has special enemies that are fused or rifted enemies. These enemies are going to be a little bit harder to kill, and then additionally, those maps are going to drop special fusion armor that will allow you to fuse a defense's element. This is more of an end-game feature. It is available from the very beginning. I personally don't really feel like it's worth for anyone to play Rifted mode until you get through the game. However, you choose your own experience. It is available to play at the beginning. The main thing is, if you want to start collecting and putting together armor sets super early, then Rifted mode is what you're going to want to do. If you want to get to the end game first and then worry about fine-tuning armor sets, then leave Rifted off and start playing Rifted later. However, like I mentioned, it is a choose-your-own-experience thing, and Rifted is available for you right from the start. As I play through a new account, as someone who has done it many times over, my goal is always to get to end game as fast as possible. So with that in mind, I never play Rifted mode until I get to Massacre. Now, as I mentioned, choose your own experience. It's there for you if you want to start collecting early, so you can use it throughout, but it will slow down your overall progression experience getting through to the end game. With that in mind, there is tons of endgame available, and that is one of the reasons I always just choose Rifted later once I get to Massacre mode. Because the game really starts when you get to Massacre. There is a ton of gameplay available there. If you like min-maxing your sets of gear, that is going to be what it's all about to get to Massacre mode. Now, in addition, Twitch drops are now live today. You're going to be able to earn some in-game cosmetics. So make sure you get on into Twitch. You're going to get a Guardian pet for the next 4 days over on Twitch, just for watching your favorite streamer for an hour. I'm going to be live playing Dungeon Defenders Awaken all afternoon, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific time, so make sure you swing on by and say what's up. But that will do it for now. Thanks a ton for watching. If anyone else has any tips for new players through this free weekend, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. But thanks again, y'all, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.